Was Brian Wilson touring with the Beach Boys because you still tour them, correct?
Yeah, he actually came out. Interesting question. He came on the road. He had a keyboard set up next to me and rarely got on stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we became friends. He never knew my name. He called me sax player. And I played on his Smile record.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Chicago and actually played on his solo records.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
He was brilliant. He was great. And I played with the Beach Boys when it was the Beach Boys. It was, Carl Wilson, Al Jardine, Mike Love, Bruce Johnston, Brian Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
And what we did was how I got that gig is because we opened up for them when Dennis Wilson was alive, and Billy Joel was the opening act for the Beach Boys.
Oh, and so you were playing with Billy, and then that's how that parlayed into the job with the Beach Boys.
Carl Wilson loved us, and Carl Wilson always wanted me to play in the Beach Boys, and I didn't want to. And then finally, when I left Billy, he came to my studio here in Glen Cove, and he was doing a session with Max Weinberg. I don't know if you know who he is, a drummer with Bruce Springsteen, and Jimmy Vivino, who's musical director for Conan O'Brien. They came here, and I played with them, and Carl gave me a cassette, and he said, learn these songs and meet us at the New York State Fair next weekend. I go, what?
Syracuse, New York?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's I live about 45 minutes from Syracuse.
My first gig with the Beach Boys was there, the New York State Fair.
The New York State Fair is unbelievable for the amount of acts that they get. And I mean, they didn't have it this year, but when I was a kid, it was like the top acts in the country were coming to, freaking Syracuse, New York.
So I knew this, okay? And he says, like on a Tuesday, he gives me a cassette and goes, learn these songs. There'll be a car picking you up Friday, and we'll meet you at the New York State Fair. And I go, what? And I never had a rehearsal and jumped on stage with the Beach Boys, and then ended up playing with them for about 20 years.
And so wait, what year was that you played with them at the State Fair?
I want to say the 90s, maybe a little bit before that in the 80s.
So when you were doing it, do you remember if it was, because the State Fair was big for having, they had a giant racetrack,
that's where
portable with the grandstand.
We played the racetrack. The grandstand was filled with people. We did like 2 shows. We did 4 shows in 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gone now. Grandstand's gone.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they do. I think they did maybe 3-4 years ago. I might be totally off. I'm trying to think if it was. Yeah, it was probably about 4 years ago. They did this whole thing where they basically put a bunch of money into the State Fair, and they moved. They have this amphitheater that's now on. I don't know what lake it is. I can't remember, but it's out on the lake. And I haven't seen it in person, but apparently it's beautiful. And I think it was like Bruce Springsteen and Ringo Starr were like the first month of acts. So they were really like pushing it, getting big people there. But it's, as much as people seem to like it, I'm sad because that grandstand had such a vibe because it was just, it was so massive.
And it was massive. And then we would set up on the, there was a racetrack. We didn't set up there. We set up on like the center part.
Yeah, they would always take the grandstand was permanent, and then they'd have the racetrack in the middle, which is where they'd put sometimes I think it was they'd either put padding to separate the audience, or they'd put floor seats, and then in the middle they'd set up that stage.
It was great.
Unbelievable.
And my first gig.